Hey guys, welcome back to Man Cave Movies, and today we're going to be talking about Marty Supreme. In 1950s New York, Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. And right out the gate, I thought there was a lot to love with this movie. It is probably the most tense film I think I've seen all year, which makes absolute sense because it was made by a Safdie brother. Marty just keeps putting himself in these situations where he is just getting himself into more and more absurd situations in order to try to get money to pay off his debt so he can go to Japan for the Ping Pong World Finals. And these situations start small with him doing things like hustling people at bowling alleys, at ping pong, all the way up until getting involved with billionaires and the mob. And the progression of it totally makes sense. But also, when you take a step back, is absolutely absurd that we ever got to that point. And I think it does a really good job of showing how far someone who is that narcissistic is willing to go in order to either prove themselves or vindicate themselves in what they are doing. Marty is told multiple times throughout the movie that ping pong ain't nothing and that he should give up on this stupid dream. At one point, he's even basically detained at the order of his uncle. Like, hey, you're going to work at the shoe store. You're not going to do ping pong anymore. And I think that it is totally believable that this person who has this much of, almost to a toxic extent, belief in themselves would go this far just in order to get what they want. And that brings me to Timothée Chalamet's performance as Marty Mauser. I think that he absolutely understands this character at a base level, and he does a fantastic job in this film. He really encapsulates that just willing to do anything attitude that Marty has, and he does a good job of blending the narcissism, the desperation, and the confidence of this man to where he feels like a fully fleshed out person. This isn't just a caricature of somebody who is overconfident. This is a fully realized person that you're watching go through a rise and fall actively on screen, and it is fantastic. And by the end of the film, you actually kind of sort of hate him because he's doing so many deplorable things. He's played so many people at this point. And yet you want to see how far he's going to take it and if this house of cards is going to collapse on him or if he is going to somehow come away proving everybody wrong and validating himself in the confidence that he has. And what I believe is really nicely handled with this is they find a way to give him some form of validation while at the same time not letting him win. I feel like certain films have a tendency to let a person like this get everything that they want. And sometimes I don't feel that that is the absolute correct message to be sending. But this movie does it in a way where, yes, he gets to prove himself, but no, he doesn't get exactly what he thought he wanted. And I believe that it was very well done and very believable, and I really enjoyed it. And Timothée Chalamet isn't the only strong performance in this film. I also really enjoyed Gwyneth Paltrow. She plays a sort of fading actress that Marty kind of has an infatuation with and also kind of tries to take advantage of at certain points. And she really sells the, I'm a very talented person. I've kind of gotten away from doing what I love and I'm pretty dissatisfied with what I'm doing right now. But I still know that I am that person. And I think that she does a fantastic job in realistically showing how a character or a person like that would act or lash out or what would set that kind of person off. I really thought that she did a fantastic job. I also think that Odessa A'zion, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her name, I thought she was also fantastic as Rachel. She's kind of Marty's love interest slash affair partner that gets drawn into some of his schemes And she is very, very, very sympathetic, while also at the same time being almost as conniving as Marty in some scenes, or even more so at some points, where she will just throw herself into the con. And I thought that she did a fantastic job of towing that line, where you can never really fully hate her, because unlike Marty, you have a more baseline understanding of why she's doing what she's doing. And I thought that she was amazing. She was amazing. I also do want to shout out Kevin O'Leary in this film. He is surprisingly good in this one, which I feel like the Safdie brothers kind of have a way of pulling performances out of people that you wouldn't really expect to give a great acting performance. Now, I don't really think that there was much acting going on there. He's playing a billionaire who acts like a billionaire, and I think that he does a really good job at making you kind of hate him, but at the same time he's also kind of getting scammed by Marty, and so you end up in a really neutral place with him. But I do want to commend him for at least giving a believable performance for somebody who's not an actor. So definitely well done there. And in that same vein, Tyler, the Creator, was really fun. There were points where I didn't really believe that he was a character from the 1950s, but at the same time, every scene that he is in is so insane. And having Tyler, the Creator's energy in that, and him yelling at Timothée Chalamet, had me laughing the entire time. So even though I don't really think that he was a guy from the 50s, I do think that I enjoyed every single time that he popped up on the screen. I knew it was about to be hilarious. So definitely liked the casting of Tyler, the Creator there. And then moving on to the cinematography, I thought that it was very well shot. Movies like this, where it's almost like a biopic, not really, but it's in that style, can either be the best movie you've ever seen cinematography-wise, or they just do nothing creative. And I think that this film did a very good job in giving us creative shots, giving us interesting things to look at. Anytime they had a ping pong match going on, I think that the cinematography, the lighting, camera work, everything came together to make ping pong feel super tense, which isn't an easy thing to do because ping pong is usually a pretty low stakes environment. And so the fact that they made us feel that tense is a credit to the cinematography. It's a credit to Timothée Chalamet's performance. He looks absolutely exhausted by the end of these matches, and he is throwing everything into making you feel like Marty is pushing himself to the limit. And so anytime you have that, it gets you on the edge of your seat. Now, while I did really enjoy this film, there are a couple of small little things that did bother me. The first is the film does drag a little bit in certain points. I feel like you could have shaved 15 minutes off of this film and it's still gotten to the same emotional place that we got to at the end. For example, anything that involved this dog that Marty was given money to take to the vet that he never takes, I think it drags along, and they revisit it a couple of times, and I don't have a issue with the plot point itself. I just think that it was given a little more time than it merited. And so I feel like there were a few small little moments like that where if they were tweaked or even removed, I don't think it would have hurt the film. And this next one, I don't even know if you could call it a con, but it is something that I'm a little bit mixed on. And it is the fact that while Marty toes this line between you liking him, disliking him, wanting to see how far he's going to push it, I do think that there are moments where he has done it, he has gotten to where he needs to go, and then he just doubles down and puts his foot in his mouth or makes another decision that sets him back to square one. And you're just like, come on, man. If you want it that bad, then you're going to block this other stuff out. And I understand that that's probably what they were going for. just as a viewer, there comes a point where you get frustrated enough with Marty where you don't even know if you want to see him keep pushing it. And the more I think about it, that was probably absolutely what was gone for here. It's just one of those things where I don't know if on rewatch, because I know where it's going, if I'm going to enjoy it or if I'm going to get more frustrated with the character. And another thing I do want to touch on isn't necessarily something even from the movie. It is more from the marketing of the film. I think that a lot of the marketing has been very well done. However, this go for greatness stuff, I don't know how far I would push that portion of it, because yes, this is a man's journey to becoming the greatest, and I do think that that's a good message for people, is to, go for it and do the best you can. However, when you actually see the movie and you see how Marty acts, how he treats people, how he manipulates people to get what he wants, I don't think that's going for greatness. Well, yes, you can say, like, the end result is he is viewed as a great. But I don't think that that's the message you want to push on people, that is going for greatness. Because in my mind, it is not okay or worth stepping over, manipulating people to get where you need to be. And so I feel like that messaging is a little bit off. I understand where they're coming from. I just don't know if that's the way. I would have done something more like, how far will you go to be great? But at the end of the day, it's very minor. It's just something that was kind of weird to me, and did kind of stick in my craw a little bit. However, overall, Ping Pong movie was one of the best movies I saw this year. I think it's one of the most complete movies that I saw in the theater, and I honestly had to struggle to even come up with anything to talk about in the cons section, which is why I had to touch on the marketing. And overall, I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. Go see it if you get the chance. It is a film I think is enhanced by going to see it in the movie theaters, and I think it's one of those movies that'll sneak up on you with how good it is. Go see it. Overall, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my review. What did you guys think of it? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, so we can keep talking movies together, because I enjoy this a lot more than my day job.